I'm sorry, your time's up.
Who's next?
Sharon.
I'm doing good. I guess you guys can tell now when I have a shitty day or when I have a good day. I just wear my emotions on my sleeve. Just rolling with the punches. I mean, I live out in California. We are flooded. We've already just had a second storm bigger than the first. I haven't gone anywhere in 3 months anyway. So I'm doing what I can. I think I'm going to put in a pool. We won't open pools up, but it's 100 degrees out here. So I'm going to be stuck to my backyard for a while. That's what I'm thinking of doing. Was that my timer?
That's your time. I better make it.
Anyway, I'm doing really good. I hope you guys are. And sorry about my joke. I thought I was being funny, but I thought it was. I passed.
Thank you. K-Cat?
I have a slight headache and I thought I should eat something and I sprained my ankle. So it's been kind of nice to just lounge around today since I'm supposed to be resting. I do have an in-ground pool. I didn't go in today, but it's hot. And I'm doing okay. So that's it. Who's next?
Kevin.
That's not what it said. You said K-Cat. I'm tired and I need a break. I just need a break for a few days of doing nothing, and I haven't had that in a very long time. So I think I might just end up taking some days off of work and doing absolutely nothing except going down to Kathy's pool. So other than that, that's it.
I'll meet you there.
Nancy.
I had a great day. I'm doing good. My husband and I took a nice little drive today down along the Fundy coast. It was a great Fundy Park trail. First time we've been on it, believe it or not, in years. And it was awesome. It was like about, I don't know, 80 degrees with the fog in the background, but lots of sunshine and beautiful pictures. I was able to take beautiful pictures. So very relaxing. A lot of positive energy came from that, and I'm feeling greatly relaxed. And I got my hair cut and colored for the first time in over 6 months. That's why it's all nice and short. Anyway, so I'm good.
Yeah, so I just went into a yoga class. That's the first one I've been in months and months. So that was good. And I tried to get my hair cut. I had an appointment and I got there, apparently my appointment was messed up, so I didn't get my hair cut. I'm a little sad because my daughter had this puppy and it wasn't working out, so we gave him, just rehomed him, and Sophia's over here, my granddaughter, she's sad about it. So, but I think it's better for him. She's putting her thumb down. See. And that's it, I guess.
Record.
I'll call you back. I'm on a Zoom meeting.
All right. So I also just noticed that you can also broadcast this on YouTube, which I just did, or yeah, YouTube, like we do the other meetings. So this also can be done that way too. So I guess that's what we got to talk about. Was so the webinar thing we thought would be good because we could have, you know, all the attendees and then the panelists set up so that we could have all the observers just be attendees. And what Kevin and I found, well, first off, they're not, but you can, I don't think they're, oh yeah, they're yours.
No, they're not.
Sorry. That first off, if you have the chat set up, they can chat and interrupt the whole meeting, but I figured out that you can turn that off. You guys have chat available when you're attending, or well, you're not attendees now, so you don't know, but let's see. I think it was set up that, anyways, there was like 2 chat bars going and that got really confusing. And then to make person panelists before the meeting, I had to put in the person's name and their email address separately, each one. And there was like no way I was gonna, like, that just like seemed like that would be so much of a pain. But then I found out you can actually promote directly from the meeting attendees to panelists. So that would make it easy. But the polling, unfortunately, goes to all the attendees, which is not what we would want. We wouldn't want all the attendees to be able to answer the polling, and it would mess up the numbers. We want the polling to go to the panelists. So, but I did just see that we could broadcast live. We could still use this for observers to, and they only come on, look on the broadcast YouTube, and then we could still use the attendee panelist function for, I don't know if that would be an advantage or not to be able to, I guess the only advantage I would see is like, because the attendees you couldn't be video, and that could be like people like us, like, well, it couldn't be me because I'm the host, but like all the events committee members that were on there, that their video doesn't really need to be seen if they're on here just monitoring, all the people that are on just monitoring things, or committee members that maybe are going to talk during their report, but not any other time. I mean, I don't know. It's just some thoughts I came up with, but it costs money. So if the other way works also, then why pay for stuff if we can use the virtual meeting too? Virtual meeting, the one that we've been using. So I guess I'll just go around and.
Webinar, Florence?
Well, so if we use the webinar costs money.
Is that what we're using now?
Doesn't cost any extra money. So I guess since the polling doesn't work, it doesn't give us the advantage that we thought we were going to have by using the webinar. But there's some advantages with it and some disadvantages, and so that's what I want to just go around and talk about. So Lorraine first.
Oh, gosh. I'm comfortable with the Zoom meeting. I'm not sure about the webinar. I've not been exposed to many of the webinars, so I'm real confused. That's it.
Okay. Sharon, is it Sharon next?
Okay, I'm kind of confused. Is what we're using now webinar? And
Yeah, this is webinar, where you have a panelist and the attendees.
Okay, and so with this one, everybody, even the attendees, could chat with us. And is Zoom where the attendees can watch without interference?
Correct.
Well, then Zoom.
Okay.
Only because webinar, that breaks, I mean, oh my God, I can't imagine the mess that we would have if people were just attending. They could say things and throw things, and I think we'd lose balance and maybe some boundaries. So unless I misunderstand.
I mean, I can block them out. So I have a choice. I can block them out on the webinar.
Okay, well, that's my biggest concern.
Right.
And
Kathy.
There's advantages to both. I think the webinar, if the people are just going to listen, that would be good because they don't have to see everybody. But I like Zoom actually personally. Maybe it's because I'm used to it. So that's it.
Okay.
I like Zoom.
K-Dog.
Yeah, I don't see, without the polling, I don't see any advantages to using the webinar. I think we can do whatever we need to do through the regular Zoom. I'm not concerned about having people's videos showing and not showing if they're supposed to be in there. And the host can kick people out, the host can turn videos on and off. So I think it all can be managed just through the regular Zoom, and then we just broadcast it through YouTube, and then that limits, then we definitely have no interaction from the observers.
Okay. Nancy?
Hi, guys. I guess before I decide not to go with webinar, I'd want to know a little bit more. There must be some advantages to webinar, which is why people use it. Are we able to get 1,000 participants on the regular Zoom account? I'm not sure. If we could have 1,000 observers, you know, who can just view and follow along, then yeah, I could see the advantage of that. But before I threw out the baby with the bathwater, I'd want to know for sure. And just what's it been? 10 minutes worth of seeing what
I know.
what it does. I'm not ready to say it doesn't work or it's not useful. I like seeing the feature on the bottom of the screen that gives numbers of the polls, which is cool. If I'm a delegate, I'm going to want to see that. You know, anybody in the conference is going to want to say, oh, okay, that's cool. That's what the response was. But I see the danger. Maybe we don't want observers. Maybe we're just going to let delegates be in, you know, and this is a great opportunity for us to use the polls for their advantage. Is there a way of using both? Can we register some people with the webinar and register some other people into the same event with Zoom?
So,
They don't get included in the polling aspect?
right, so the Zoom gives you the polling also. We can do the polling on the Zoom too. I thought the advantage of using the polls with the webinars would be that the people who don't have a vote could be made attendees, and the people who do have a vote could be made panelists, and then you could only send the polling to the people who have a vote, but you can't do that.
So that's something you've checked and.
Well, I mean, I guess we could ask Anna to look further into it, because it gives you a choice where you can send it just to the attendees, but the only choice that's popping up for me is if I want to also include the panelists. So I don't know, maybe Anna could check to see if there is a possible way that we can just poll the panelists.
Yeah, I'd rather find out more information before I threw
Yeah.
it out, because I
Right.
have a feeling that we can have more participants with webinar.
Right.
And
Well,
that would be a positive thing if we could do that,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, if we go the other way, we would be broadcasting it over YouTube, so anyone could join. So it wouldn't matter the number. You could have as many number could follow on YouTube. They just wouldn't have the option ever to have voice. They would only be able to observe.
Yeah, I think we have to just make clear what we're talking when we talk participants and observers, because observers usually do not have voice and they just sit there and observe. And so the broadcasting, you could have unlimited people who have the link watching CSC. You just wouldn't know who they are unless somebody was monitoring the YouTube. So if we want to give them voice, then yeah, then it's a whole different ball game. But
Yeah.
we usually, it'd be like last year where we had 2 separate feeds and the observers did not interact with CSC. They just watched it. Well, they interacted with Patrick.
Yeah, and
Well,
they can interact with each other. They can chat to each other.
Yeah.
But they can't interact with the people who are, you know, delegates and all that are.
And that worked well last year.
Yeah, it's just it was done differently because we had, you know, a different setup because it was in the room. So we had a separate camera set up and a separate computer and a whole separate webinar. And that was a webinar because it just broadcasted. That was it. And
My thoughts on this are, let's not cancel it yet. I mean,
we still have time before we need to cancel it.
I mean, but if we are going to cancel it, we'd probably want to do it sooner rather than later, so we don't have to pay for months that we don't need, right?
Right. So I guess I'll just follow up with Anna about the polling part of it. Because if the polling part of it we could figure out, then I think there is an advantage of doing it this way. But I feel like we can do everything that we need to do with what we previously had without paying and just broadcast on the YouTube for the observers. Now we still have the problem with chairs and or committee members that are attending who do have voice, but they don't have vote. And they will still receive the polling, but those people have more education than someone who's just observing, and they would know, oh no, I'm not supposed to vote. Where versus if someone's just popping in to see how, oh, what's CSC going, and this poll pops up on their screen, and they answer it because they don't know they're not supposed to answer it, and so that would throw off the voting. It would also throw off the percentages and the numbers, which is we're already going to have that thrown off a little bit. I mean, unless we use a different form of voting. Now, someone was, Kevin was talking about Al-Anon uses a different voting app or something. I don't know if that's something we would want to look at. Do you want to talk? You want to explain that, Kevin?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it. That's just what I sent you. So we're going to use that on an upcoming area assembly to do voting, but it's an extra cost, and you have to download an app, I think, which I think is going to let out a lot of people. I think there's going to be a lot of pushback if we really try to go that way.
Okay.
I don't know. I really think we can do everything through the Zoom and the polls and work with the chair, the committee members who join just for the report. And, they know exactly, because chairs are going to be in there, and they know not to vote. So
Okay.
I don't think that'll be much of an issue.
All right. Well, I'll follow up with Anna then, and then we won't make a final decision until next time before throwing it out.
We have it for a month, right?
Have it for 2.5 months.
Yeah, they
No,
did
but
it through.
if we cancel tomorrow, do we still have to pay the whole month? I guess is my question.
I don't know, because we activate it at the middle of June, so I don't even know if they're going to charge us for the whole month of June or not.
That's what I was just wondering, is if like you cancel, but you still have to pay at least 1 month. So
Yeah, I don't know.
That'll be a question for Anna.
Yeah.
I mean, you can try it with the chair. I don't know what the advantages are, even. if we
Yeah,
have
that's
more
not going to be
people.
till July, so then we'd pay for
Yeah.
another month.
Well, it's the beginning of
try it.
July though. But if we started it in the
I mean,
middle,
Oh, I see.
it may go from like June the 20th.
To
I think
July
you said it
20th.
on Friday, so it might go from June 19th.
that's what I
July.
was wondering.
And if
Yeah.
that's the case, well, then there's no harm in trying it with the chairs. But it's important to find out from Anna.
Yeah, because you're going to need more people as attendees and panelists, so you can see how annoying it is when Sharon brings up the big point with, if we're trying to monitor and the attendees keep popping up with chat and questions, it could be very, very distracting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that would work. I think we'd be in trouble.
Yep.
So this another annoying thing is that when it's recording, it doesn't let me minimize my screen. So how do I change my share screen if I wanted to share screen?
I don't know. You're not sharing, so
Well, our next thing is
That's
the
right.
CSC agenda. I was going to try to pull that up. So let me see if I can.
it doesn't matter. It's 8 o'clock, so I got to go.
Lost everything. We just lose everybody.
I stopped sharing. Yes.
No, you didn't lose anybody. You just lost the screen.
You should still see everybody.
No, I don't see anyone.
I see you all.
Yeah, I can see you.
I can't see anything.
We see you.
Maybe you have,
I think we can all share. I think I can share.
yeah, you can. Is that, I can make it the host only can share, but right now it's everybody can share.
Hmm.
Don't do it, Nancy.
All right, I'm gonna pull up the CSC agenda.
All right, I'm signing off.
Oh, I thought you were staying on till 8:30.
No, I said 8 since it started an
Oh.
hour late.
All right,
You
fine.
look
or half hour
tired,
late.
Kevin.
What?
I said he looks tired.
So,
Oh,
and yeah, when I've talked to you with the agenda, you guys can mess with it. And I don't know, I guess I don't know if you saw the emails, but there's CSC or the board's deciding about SSC's motions. So there may be more motions coming.
they're deciding about what?
Nancy can tell you.
Yeah, we need to talk about the agenda.
So,
Okay,
okay.
I'm
All right, have fun
trying
with
to get it
that.
up. Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Kevin.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, is it sharing?
No,
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 the rest of us can share, but yours isn't.
No, I thought I had it up to share and it didn't come up. So let me try it again.
Yeah.
Oh, here, let me do it this way. Okay. Now it should be.
There we go.
Yeah,
okay.
something's coming.
Okay. All right. So Carol and I went over the agenda last Friday. And I left this training session if we think we still need it on Sunday. And I think that Jeff sent out an all user thing anyway already saying we were having the training thing on Sunday. So I left that there from 4 to 6. And then Monday, we had talked about at our meetings that we were going to do the time starting at 10 a.m. and try to end by 3 or 3:30. So most of it, so I did 10 to 3:30. So it gives us 30 minutes for lunch. And I went through all of the motions that have been submitted currently, and they're here on this page. And you'll see that not all the committees submitted motions. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 committees submitted motion, and then there's a VEI literature motion. So Carol and I decided, when we talked about giving extra time, so each committee only had one motion. We gave 20 minutes per motion, and we gave up to hour and a half total. So the board has like 4 motions. So we did hour and a half for the board. Ad hoc has 7 motions, and you see they still only get 90 minutes, which they may end up having to ask for extra time. Who knows? Finance does not have any motions, but they have things that they have to get that has to be presented at CSC. So they have a 45-minute slot and a 30-minute slot at the beginning and the end. SSC only had 3, so they were 60 minutes. So anyway, so that's how we figured that part out. And then I just started plugging things in. So I did first, we have to do the quorum, establish a quorum count, and that takes a little longer the first day because you're figuring out what the number is going to be each day. And then I did introductions. And last year, what we did is everybody just like came up to the mic and said their name and who they were and where they're from, and then sat down. So I figured that's basically what we'll do. And I gave 30 minutes for that. And so I don't know, if you say 10 to 20 seconds per person, if you had up to 100 people, it still might take more than 30 minutes. I don't know. Then I had the approval of agenda, conference procedure review, and hopefully we will have done the training session, and this section should not take us that long. Although I do remember last year, it took a little longer than we anticipated. But that's where you do a mock
Schedule?
but you know, if everybody that's at the meeting in the morning was there the evening before where they did a mock motion, then maybe we don't have to do a whole nother one. And then events, we were assigned the VI for the 30-second rule. So I stuck us as the very next thing because the 30-second rule, if it gets passed, then we use it for all the rest of the, you know, the rest of the votes, because it's the 30-second thing where when you call for a vote that you take 30 seconds before you take the vote. So that's why I put that there. And then we're like
That's
already
after every vote.
yeah, they want like, okay, so we go through the motion and at the end they say, okay, it's time to vote. And
Okay, I
before
know.
we all actually vote, we take 30 seconds.
Okay,
And they practiced that last year. Because
right.
the SoCal VE delegate had gotten up and that took up, I remember that took up time at the beginning of conference because then she threw in this motion.
Well,
Anyway.
I thought we could do that like when we start in the morning. I thought we did the 30 seconds and it was great. And then when we came back from lunch and breaks, we did the 30 seconds. I guess I don't remember doing it before every motion. So that's what's got me.
No, we usually just do a quorum count after break and then, or after lunch or break, you do a quorum count. And then the 30-second rule is usually if the room gets disruptive and somebody feels uncomfortable, they call out 30 seconds and you stop for 30 seconds. But last year, the VE delegate wanted to call for 30 seconds before every vote. So if the motion passes, that's what it will go into the conference procedure, and we'll do it all from that time forward for the rest of all of the conferences. So then I have the board in the afternoon, and then I put an afternoon break, and then, you know, I just plugged in things so that we would end at 3:30. I put the treasurer's report and finance committee update here. Oh, this has to be changed to 45 minutes. I only have 15 minutes here. They want it 45 minutes. So that automatically changes the time. So actually that pushes us up a little bit. So I might have to move one of these motions over because that pushes it up to 4 o'clock that day. So I don't know if
I
we
have a
want to do that.
question.
Yeah.
I see you've got the board for 4 motions. We should have an hour, right? An hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Yeah, 90 minutes.
But it's going from 2 o'clock. I could barely see the screen, by the way.
Oh,
From
sorry.
2 o'clock to 2:10. We got 10 minutes.
No, that's the break below it. You got from 12:30 to 2.
Okay, well, that's not clear.
Oh, I think it's probably just 2. I enlarged it. Can you see it any better?
Well, the point is that shouldn't it be from, if the quorum count is at 12:30? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong side of things. I was just looking at one column. So yeah,
so
it's
quorum
from
counts
12:30
to 12:30.
Got it.
Yeah.
But it was tiny. I couldn't see it.
Yeah, sorry.
I see it now.
It looks big on my screen. I guess that's Carol's problem too, because we always tell her we can't see it.
I could get rid of the video. The video is taking up half of my screen. If I could,
you can
if I could remove it, I've been
hide
trying
those.
to.
Hide thumbnail
not
video.
allowing me
You can
to.
hide the thumbnail video. If you up at the top, there's a little minimize little thing.
You can make it wider by
And
putting
you
your,
you can also do it like a window.
right, move your arrow where the line
Mhm.
is, the center.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see it.
Yay!
Okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Hard to explain.
Yeah. So that pushes us. So I might have to move one of these motions over, which is fine if we don't want to end all the way at 4 o'clock. So when we go to Tuesday, you see, I started plugging things in. So I put service structure committee in the morning for 3 motions with the ratification of the board's motions, and then ad hoc in the afternoon, because that's another heavy one where we have 7 motions.
Wow.
And then we'll do the core board candidate introduction. Nancy, do you know if there's any candidates?
I believe there's.
Not yet. There have been people who have, I have like 7 or 8 people who have indicated interest, and I've sent them applications, but nobody's submitted any yet. I don't know,
Okay.
once they get the application, I think it scares them.
Is this, oh, the core board?
The core and Coda. So
Yeah.
I put 45 minutes for that. That should be long enough, right? For people to introduce themselves and people to ask them questions if they want.
Should be, if
I
it
believe-
depends on how many
Yes, sorry.
people. The
Yeah.
thing is that
I believe-
there's Yaniv from Israel, who's an alternate. He was elected in between.
Mm-hmm.
So like he'll need to be part of that.
So he'll be
Gail
in
was
there.
elected last year. If she wants to put her name forward, I think she probably has to go through that question answer thing too.
Okay.
So you've got at least two, but if there's
Okay.
anyone else there, but
Right.
it doesn't take that long. You're right. But I'd say probably a half an hour at least for each. So,
And the core board has two, I believe, Chris H. and I forgot who else.
Richard I.
Yes, I
Okay.
think so.
Okay. All right. I mean, as we get closer, obviously this stuff can be adjusted and moved around. This is just a draft. So if we get more candidates and we think we need more time or something, but and then on the last day, well, so Thursday would be the last day, but I got to Wednesday and I finished business. So we can do it in 3 days.
That's good.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, so I got core in the morning for 2 motions. I got the board's motions twice. So that okay.
Good, more time.
And then the elections will be in the afternoon. And then although the tallying shouldn't be that as hard as if we're using I don't know how we'll do the actual board election. We'll have to think if we're going to actually do a poll or if we're going to, how we might do that separately. I don't know. We'll figure that out. If that's something else we have to talk about, is how to do the actual elections, if we're going to do it the same way as we do the motions or not. And then the budget, finance has to present the budget. And then that's it. And then my only other thing was what I asked the board, which Nancy hadn't answered back yet, or unless I missed your email somewhere, but was that, we have other committees that didn't get a chance to talk at all because they didn't have any motions. And if you wanted to give them a chance to talk about their committee for a few minutes or something. But I don't know if you got any answer back.
Well, I can tell you where we're at now. I'm still waiting for a few more people to
Uh-huh.
respond, but the majority on all the questions you asked is no to giving people 5 minutes to present at the end of conference. If
Okay.
we allow one committee to do it who hasn't got motions, we've got to give it to everybody.
Right.
You can't give it to just one and then, just because they don't
Right.
have
Well, that's what I was
motions.
saying. Each committee would get.
Yeah,
a few
so
minutes, yeah.
we made the decision, no, this is going to be hard. You guys have no idea how hard it is to be on something for hours like this. The board has been doing it every friggin' weekend since April the 25th.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it is hard. It is very hard. So if you can last, from, what is it, 10 or 9 in the morning? I'm not sure what time it is now, until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. That's like unbelievable. And I must say, Yaniv is preferencing, because he's from Israel, he said 8 a.m. Pacific time is better for him because it means he doesn't have to be an hour later. And I think that would be a preference if,
Well, that would put us starting at 11.
but that's when you think 11 Pacific time?
No, it would be put Eastern time at starting at 11 a.m. Right? It's Pacific time is 3 hours.
Yeah,
Oh, then I
So-
got till 8.
yeah.
So
I-
right now there we have them started at 7 in the morning and we're starting at 10.
I think that 8 might be more, if you're thinking of people across the world, including the Pacific Rim. I mean, 7 a.m. is pretty damn early. Excuse my language. If you want people to be awake, They have to,
do
they're
it
gonna have to
every
be up
year.
at 5 to get their coffee into them and be, you know,
Uh-huh.
you need to, and then shorten the day. So that might be something you might want to consider too, is, well,
Well, how are
instead
we
of
going to short? I
starting,
don't know how we're going to shorten the day anymore
well,
unless you
instead
do it
of
for 4
finishing
days.
on Wednesday, finish on Thursday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've
Does
got
it
it.
look like we have
Well,
that
the
much
reason
though?
the reason I
We
was
have
putting it
time.
to 3 days is because at one of our meetings we all talked about that it would be better to finish it in 3 days than 4 days.
And so
We have
starting at
time left over Wednesday too.
how many hours? I haven't figured
So
that out.
10 to 3:30. So it was 5.5 hours. That was giving a half an hour for lunch. So that was what we were.
So for somebody who lives in another part of the world, that for them is like midnight. You
Yeah,
gotta
I thought
understand
we
that.
had figured out that if we ended at 3 something, it was putting them at they would end up by 10 or 11
Yeah.
o'clock. I don't know.
So
Yeah. Yeah,
anyway,
you're right. It's late.
all I know is that Yaniv put the preference forward. He said, look, 7 or 8, look, 8 is better for me.
But then that puts
and
him later. So I don't understand. So that puts the day
As I
later
say,
though.
it means 8 a.m. Pacific is better for him. 'Cause
Right,
it's
but
like,
that moves the day later. So they
yes,
would be ending later. So I don't understand that one.
all I can say is that's what his preference is. It's not a
Okay,
problem
that's
for
nice to
me,
know his preference.
Uh-huh.
He can get up earlier. We all do.
because he's working.
Mm.
So,
Right.
I mean, so
Yeah.
that's preference 8 a.m. Pacific versus what time though?
I think you had 7 a.m. Pacific.
Mhm.
Okay. So he said it would be better to start and end later in the day. So that's what I don't understand. If they're
Yes,
start
yes.
and end, so then he's
For
ending
him,
past midnight.
for him, that would be better.
Okay.
It doesn't make a difference for me. It doesn't make a difference for a couple other people who are retired, who are on the board. I don't know what it means to the rest of the trusted servants. The events committee are, a big part of this, so they really need to make the decision for their sake as well. But I just wanted to pass that on. The other thing was with reference to, I'm just pulling up the questions that you asked me. The 20 minutes with the 1.5 hour max, we're all good with that.
Okay.
Do we need the board motions first? So far, people are saying, yes, we'd like them first. So it
Okay.
seems like what you've got on the agenda.
No,
I still-
usually we put the board first, but then one of the years,
Last
the
year,
board said, "Oh, we don't want our more motions to go first." But
I know. So far, we're good with the first,
okay.
but I'm still waiting for a few more. And with reference to being able to submit motions on the last day, there have been a few people who have been asking about that. It seems as though most of the board is saying no new business.
Right.
No-
You guys already had said that, so I didn't put it on there.
Yeah. So it was listed on the email that went out as old business, but I think it was just a wording choice error. You should
Okay.
have said no new business, because when you look at the FSM, it talks about BEIs coming forward, and if the assigned committee wants to bring it forward as a motion and it was late, that they could bring it up as new business. And we probably should have called it new business instead of old business not being allowed. So at this point, we're not thinking we want to allow any new business. We just want the motions.
Okay, so that brings up a question then, because Kevin was asking me about that, is that, all right, this was a question last year. We're accepting motions now up until the beginning of conference. It can be listed as a late motion. And we were still putting it in with that committee's time. If they had time during their time slot to do it, they still could do it. But there was a question or whether or not, since it was submitted late, if it should be new business. And I didn't know. So
it should be under new business because that's what the FSM says. Late motions can be brought forward as a result of EEIs under new business. But we as the board have identified that we don't want any of that this year. Anything tabled, anything that's
Well, I
new
know we're not
business.
doing a table, but what about late motions that come before we even start conference? Are we
That's,
accepting those?
we're in the process. So far, it's no. I'm still waiting for all the
Okay.
answers.
Because
This is tiring having this virtual meeting.
oh, definitely. Yeah,
It's
I
a new
agree.
thing and it's going to be different. It's not going to be something that's the same as all conferences.
No, I
So
agree.
it's not going to be the norm.
No, I
So,
agree.
and we made the decision early on. We didn't think of all the little things because we were all in a panic and trying to figure out what to do,
Mhm.
right? But
Yeah.
now that we've thought about it a little bit, we're saying, okay, should we allow additional motions to come in because they've been assigned, VEIs have come in late. We just had
Right.
4 of them from Arizona.
Right.
They didn't come in like in April. They just came in a couple of weeks ago and
Right.
we assigned them and then people turned them down and then we're trying to reassign them. Like, that doesn't mean that we have to hear them this year. It means
Right.
really the
Not at
process
all.
is that the committee looks at it, they give them an answer. If it's in time, they can put it as a motion. If it's late, then no, they would normally bring that as new business.
Right.
But if we're not allowing new business, it goes to next year.
Right. And, honestly, the normal process for a VEI is that it should get assigned to a committee who works on it for a year and then brings it back. That's the
Yeah.
only reason that the events committee, the only reason we felt comfortable bringing that motion that we brought was because it was already voted on last year and it was pretty simple motion.
Oh, and you
You know.
had it early.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were
We
able
had
to
it
submit
in
it on
lots of
time.
time.
Yeah. But, something that's complicated, like that one, they tried to slip in last year about changing the, what was it? Changing one of the foundational documents, the
Service
thing they're trying to do
concepts?
this year. Add the
Service
meeting.
concepts.
Yeah, they submitted that and I felt like that was like totally rushed. And that's why I really appreciate the board's motion about changing foundational documents, because I agree, it shouldn't be just rushed in there. And
So at this point, it seems though everyone who's voted, they are saying nothing, no new business, no old
Right.
business, no tabled business, no
Right.
BEI motions, no exceptions.
right, so we need to send, like, probably craft something, or maybe the board can craft something.
We
and
will, once we've
send
got
that out so that
all the
people are
response.
clear
from
about
everyone.
that and we don't get it thrown up like, hey,
Because
well, wait a minute.
it's not that clear right now, as you said. So we'll
Right.
issue something that clarifies that once we've got everybody's opinion. And we're having another meeting. We've met every Saturday since April the 25th. Some of them have been 6 hours long. Some of them have been 4 hours long, 2 hours long. We've just been burning our butts.
Crazy.
I agree with you, Nancy. I think it's good we don't have new business because this is the first year we're trying this and it could be disastrous. And I think just putting that boundary out there, I agree with the board.
Anyway, that's where we are with the questions you asked, Florence, and I'm sorry I didn't get back to you
No
earlier,
problem.
but it takes a while to get people to respond.
Mhm. So, all right, so what I'm hearing you say is that the board's preference would be that we had shorter days over 4 days.
We'd have to see what you propose as a
Okay.
schedule for people. I can't answer that they'd rather 3 over 4. I'd want to see what those 3 and 4 would entail. I'd like to see what your options would be for a 3-day
Well,
conference.
this is a 3-day, right? The one what I
versus a
have up right now
4-day
is 3-day.
conference. Versus a 4-day conference. I think that would be a good way of presenting it to the board and saying, okay, what's your preference? Would you like this or that?
Okay, well, so this is the 3-day. We would be going from about like 10 to 3:30 every day for 3 days. That it would be a 5.5-hour days.
Yeah, that's a long day.
Yeah. So, so we could
With a
try to,
half-hour
obviously we
lunch?
can,
That
I'm
is
sorry,
with a
30-minute lunch. I did 30-minute lunch and a 10-minute break in the afternoon.
That's a hard day.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just prepare another version and then we can talk about that next time too. And just see what people think look better.
There's pros and cons to both, right? With 3
Yeah.
days, people don't have to take 4 days off of work,
Exactly.
you know? They might have to suffer a little on the 3 days, but they
Yeah.
don't have to take 4 days off of work. So it's a catch-22, but it'd be
Okay.
good to see both options so people can know, you know, what they're choosing as
Okay.
opposed to.
So from my committee, you guys, is there anything else you guys have questions about the CSC agenda? Anything, ideas, questions, anybody? And then we can end after that. I guess not. Okay. All right. So, and, yeah, so it was a good, so any other questions about anything else before we end then? And our next meeting will be next week, and we can, it doesn't have to be at 7:30 again, we can do it 7. I only did that because I had a brain fart when I made this registration for the for my yoga class, and I was so excited. Oh, I get to register for yoga class, and then I totally
Well,
forgot.
good for you for going.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I go with you?
Yeah. All right. So,
We'll go
all right,
Zeno together.
yeah. So we can say the Serenity Prayer. God,
God,
grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thanks, you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Next Tuesday
Alright.
at regular time.
Yes, Tuesday, 7 o'clock next Tuesday.
Bye.
Good
Bye-bye.
night. Good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Night.
I don't know how you leave.